we interrupt our regular evening schedule to bring you the following special program. September 16th, 2259. And the Interstellar Network News presents 36 Hours on Babylon 5 with your host, Cynthia Torkman, reporting live from the ISN News Center in Geneva.
Good evening. I'm Cynthia Torkman. In the 100 or so years since humanity went to the stars, we've established outposts and colonies on over 24 worlds in 14 solar systems. Out of all those far-flung outposts, only the Mars colony, plagued by scattered groups of separatists who have used acts of terror to intimidate the Earth-loyal majority, has proven more controversial than the Earth Alliance station, Babylon 5. So tonight, we take you to the center of the controversy. An ISN crew and I recently spent 36 hours aboard Babylon 5, asking hard questions, and on occasion, getting in a little over our heads.
Welcome to Gimmicks, a podcast about the high-concept, experimental, structure-breaking gimmick episodes of TV, from musicals to bottle episodes to we interrupt your scheduled programming for a special news report. I'm Derek Miguel.
Close the blast doors. I'm David Arnold, and who is joining us today?
Psychor is your friend, trust the core. I'm Christian Smith, Babylon 5 fan, and it's going to be fun.
Yeah, speaking of, this episode we are talking about Babylon 5 and the episode, and now for a word.
If you are not familiar with Babylon 5, it is an American space opera that aired on PTEN, more on that in a second, for 4 seasons, and then TNT for a 5th and final season, beginning with a pilot film in 1993, and the main series running from 1994 to 1998. It follows a group of human military staff and alien diplomats aboard a space station, the titular Babylon 5, as a neutral zone for trade and diplomacy, even among war and conflict. It is widely considered one of the best and most important cult sci-fi shows of all time, highly influential in its early use of serialization and a pre-planned 5-year-long myth arc in genre television, and its early use of CGI. And it has spawned a still active franchise that includes multiple TV films, a spin-off series, and an animated film that came out in 2023.
Wow.
Yeah.
Christian, you brought Babylon 5 to the table. What are your experiences with this show?
Oh, God. So I didn't start straight away with it. I remember there being loads of press about the original pilot movie, The Gathering, and watched that. And then the series came out and looked nothing like the pilot. Having like half the cast changed and character designs completely changed. And the first few episodes are rough and slow. And I dropped out of it about 6 episodes in, and then as always, at the time, things like SFX and TV Zone magazine, because magazines were a thing, not the internet at that point, really started talking about it when season 2 kicked off. And new leading man, and one of the characters had changed face again, and I thought, and that actually was on about a time in the UK. And I ended up, it wasn't competing against like Next Generation or anything like that. So cool. I ended up falling into watching it and got sucked into the arc of it, which was becoming a lot more prevalent in season 2 and 3. And that was it. And then that sort of pulled me into the internet with Usenet, and the writer being on one of the big news, his own moderated news group. And that was kind of it. I followed with, going to conventions, that back when, you actually got to mix with the stars, and that was great fun. And that was it. Been hooked ever since.
That is cool.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but my my understanding is that, like, you know, it was very much a cult show here in the US, but in the UK, I feel like but I've read that it's a lot bigger, right? Like it had a much more explosive like debut.
Yeah, in the UK at the time, we only had 4 TV channels, which was part of it. So, it was, and it was on at like 6:00 in the evening on like Tuesdays, I think it was. And there wasn't much. You had the news, Babylon 5, or a soap opera. So didn't
sense.
really have much of a choice. So, but yeah, I mean, it was huge, and to the point where the UK got the final 4 episodes of season 2 before the US did.
Ooh.
Yeah, which at the time we didn't know, because, we only found out about it afterwards, because it was in magazines that suddenly, we were seeing these beforehand. So we knew about a couple of massive character changes before anyone else did. Poor Talia, we hardly knew you.
That is so cool, Chris, that you had this great experience. Derek, what is your history with Babylon 5?
I remember seeing the commercials. I think it was airing on my Fox network at the time, like probably like Saturday afternoon or something like that. So I remember seeing the commercials for it, and it was just like, it looks like another space show, so I didn't really pay much attention to it. And I remember, I think when it was airing on like Sci-Fi Channel, it's like in reruns, when they were producing I know they did like the TV movies and stuff like that. So I'd see all the ads for that because I was watching Sci-Fi Channel at the time, but I was just like, I don't know. It just looks like another like show where they're in space, like a Star Trek thing. Like, I don't know. Like nothing about it ever caught my attention for it.
We've also got to remember this was also coming out literally alongside Deep Space Nine.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I think put a pin in that.
Yeah.
It feels like that's its own conversation. But so it's, I don't know. It just, nothing about it just appealed to me for whatever reason. And like my dad's a big sci-fi geek and a big Star Trek fan. He never watched it either. So like there was no reason for me to, but it's always been on my radar, less so for the sci-fi element and more just knowing the strides that it made in serialization and like the importance to television, and also knowing J. Michael Straczynski from like reading his comics and stuff like that. So it's just like, well, and this is like the TV show that he made. So like, obviously there's something interesting about it, but I just never dived into it. So this was my opportunity to do it, which I'm thankful for finally getting a chance to watch some of it. And I ended up, I didn't watch the pilot movie, but I did watch the first 2 episodes, I watched the first handful of season 1, the finale of season 1. I watched the episode in season 1 with Babylon 4, just because the concept of it sounded cool too.
Yeah, so you were hitting the key arc points.
I was getting a smattering of them, and then for season 2, I watched the premiere. I watched the Coming of Shadows episode because I knew that was an important one, and it was a really really good episode. And then this one, so I've only seen a tiny smattering of Babylon 5, which makes this kind of intimidating because tried to do research for it. I'm like, oh my God, there's such an intensely deep well of documented information and really complicated histories with it. So I'm like, it was kind of overwhelming.
Yeah, the documentation in particular is unlike any other show of its time, even now.
Truly. So it's like, going into this, it's sort of like, how am I supposed to podcast about this thing that I like feel like it's so clear I know like 0.1% about coming out of this, even though I've watched like 10 episodes of it at this point. So that's my history, which is very, very minimal.
Derek, we couldn't have planned this better if we had tried. I decided I'm going to start with this TV movie. That's where I'm going to start. And wow, what a decision. What a choice. And then going into like the fandom and being like, this is the worst place to tell someone to start watching this series. And being like, well, whoops. But Tubi considers it to be the end of season 1.
So weird. It's so weird.
I have a lot of thoughts about Tubi that are going to come out in this conversation. It immediately played season 2, episode 1, which was such a knee jerk from the pilot movie.
Yeah.
But I had a blast with that one. So I just kept watching season 2.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm gonna just let this play until we get to the episode. I didn't quite have enough time to really accomplish that goal. But boy, I watched some bangers, I feel like.
Yeah.
I too opened the lore, looked at it and said, nope, Christian will be on. I can ask him my questions. I don't need any part of this. This is way too much. And I'm excited to talk about the creator. I'm excited to talk about the series. It seems very important. Prior to this, I had only really known Babylon 5 for being a series that it was okay to make fun of other nerds about, because it seems like that is like a go-to thing. I feel like the trio did it in Buffy season 6. Sheldon does it on Big Bang Theory. Like, I don't understand how this was earned, and I cannot find that answer anywhere. Like, it's just kind of okay to hate on Babylon 5.
Yeah.
Is it that it's okay to hate on Babylon 5, or is it just identifying that if you're into Babylon 5, you are just like the nerdiest of the nerds?
You are a whole new level of nerd, particularly if you know the lore. Yeah.
I love that.
Because I do think that is maybe something that if there's any barrier for me just being like, I'm gonna just dive into Babylon 5, it is that like this feels like the dream of someone who is really, really into super hyper complex detailed world building. But if you're not the kind of person that is like likes to go deep and just like spend hours and hours and hours and hours reading your wiki pages and encyclopedias, it's not necessary. That's always gonna feel like a little bit much for that. Like that's kind of the vibe that I've gotten from
That's exactly it.
Yeah. Which I appreciate.
Season 1 is very much that. It's building the world, building the universe, and then dropping in little bits of lore and, you know, upcoming things.
Yeah.
And then suddenly season 2 is where it all starts to coalesce and brings the story, brings the shadow arc to the fore. But there's 3 main plot threads throughout all of this, which is the Shadows, the Earth War, and then the telepaths, which is a whole different conversation.
Yeah.
I read some about the telepath colony arc in season 5 that people are not a fan of. It's so funny reading some of this
concept stuff. The telepath arc is great if it had been done the way that he wanted to do it.
Sure.
And also, had they not looked like they'd all stepped out of a L'Oreal ad.
I also just want to offer, and I love this creator. I love creators who are online. I think we all suffer from a degree of internet madness. I think Usenet is a different environment altogether than the internet we have today.
Yeah.
I think that this creator during this time in his life had never met the concept. They don't need my opinion about this. Because I think that like his musings are a required reading to understand this series.
Yep. Absolutely. So to the point where the Lurker's Guide, which is basically the Web 1.0 website that pulled all of this thread together, still exists.
Oh, yeah. I was browsing that.
It's amazing. It's such a good site.
It's such a good like portal into the early 90s. It's so fun.
Yeah, I started to remember when I was in Abnormal Psych and had to read letters that serial killers kept or journals that they had kept. Not that I think this man is a sociopath, but
No, but the people that were on the moderated web group were.
That's what I'm saying. There was a vibe that I was like, ooh, my spider sense is tingling. Like, I'm getting
it was great. It was fabulous. But oh my God, it got intense.
Yeah.
That's why it was moderated.
Yeah, It's awesome. But I mean, I wish that I was a fan in this. And honestly, I wish that I could have watched this in 1994, 1995, because I bet this CG would have blown me away.
At the time, it was amazing. And because it was the first real show that ever did that level of CG sets and everything. And all right, now it looks it looks like it was done on an Amiga, which it was.
Yeah.
But, it paved the way for DS9 to do it, for Voyager and everything else that came after it. There was a lot of stuff that was done in this show that paved the way for TV shows to come.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I honestly, hand on heart, I do not think we'd have had something like Lost without Babylon 5 paving the way, because the idea of a 5-year story arc just wasn't there. And he did it.
Yeah.
It got close. It got very close to not having the 5 years, but we got it finally.
Yeah. And here's the other thing I will note just before we dive into the more nuts and bolts of this is that, kind of like our conversation on our last full episode about Glee, people love this series, but are also not afraid to tell you that the series is not very good. And I don't know how many articles I saw that named this the best worst show that has ever been made.
Really? Interesting.
Yes.
Interesting.
I wouldn't go that far. I mean,
what's the thought process behind that?
Because Lex still exists.
Wow. Oh, what a throwback. Can we find a gimmick episode of Lex? Because that would be a fun time portal.
Oh my God, I just died. Yeah, no, a lot of people, and I think it was the same things that we're saying right now, which is that sometimes you'd have character actors who are running circles around other people in their scene. Sometimes
Sure.
you would have direction that looked a little like, I just learned to direct and here I am. But this was a very like scrappy insurgency show. This was, it always kind of looked like it was on a budget. It had a budget, like it had money. But it was always frugal with how it used it.
Yeah.
And I think that's where a lot of it came from. I was just surprised how many people seem to be reusing each other's headlines in these like retrospective reviews of this.
That's funny. That feels a little mean. Yeah.
Yeah. And there will be people who have only watched episodes here and there. They've never watched the full arc. It's like,
Sure.
you know, basing a review on the first 4 chapters of Lord of the Rings and then saying,
Yeah.
well, actually nothing happens in this. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, no,
Right.
it doesn't.
And there's always going to be the, you know, the unfortunate comparison to Star Trek that you're always making with it too. That's not the fault of this show, obviously.
No.
But I don't know. I mean, I was like watching this, the things that stood out to me the most were like, I think the CGI was really impressive watching this and being like, this is
Oh, yeah.
1993
Yeah.
Thank
on
you.
television. Like,
Yeah.
come on.
Yes.
This is actually like some pretty cool stuff.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you consider the DS9 at the time was still using models.
Models.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, I think the aliens look really fucking cool in
The
this show.
aliens look so
They
I-
look
good.
alien.
Yeah, I
So-
think that's a thing that, you know, the upside to, you know, Star Trek being such a big institution is that I think a lot of other space opera shows are often trying to like specifically veer away from it. And so that means you get a show like you get stuff like Farscape where they're using like Jim Henson puppets and stuff like that. And then you get stuff like this where it's like, we don't want to just have rubber forehead aliens. We want to have like really complicated prosthetics and makeup that I'm sure were absolute nightmares to apply on these actors all the time. But they all look really, really unique and distinct. And like, what's his name? The Vorlon guy? Is it Kosh or
Kosh.
not?
Kosh.
Yeah, that design is for the encounter suit. That design is so sick. It's so fucking cool. Like,
Yeah.
and like that's stuff that you will not get on Star Trek at all. That I think that this show really
Right.
nails.
Right.
Yeah.
I do have a question, Christian, because you are
Go.
a little bit more of an authority, and I just could not find an answer to this. I know that Delenn's transformation was always planned as part of the arc, and part of that had a gender swappy thing, which we can talk about. But I wanted to know, in my heart of hearts, was this about like giving this poor woman a break in the makeup chair?
Had to be.
I think there was an element of that.
Okay.
I mean, certainly that was the reason why it changed between the pilot and season 1.
Yes.
If you look at the pilot, she's very much more, Delenn is much more androgynous.
Yes.
Yeah, even to the point of the voice changer and all that kind of thing. And then in the first
Interesting.
season, it's a much more feminine look and feel. But yeah, I think there's a massive look to let's just give her a break because she becomes such an important character that Mira Furlan was basically going to be on set pretty much every day, all day, in
Yeah.
that bloody bone wig.
Yeah. Which is, I will say I loved her look in the pilot. And I love the throwback in this episode to like, you used to look much different. And they put up the image of her from the pilot. And I was like, yes, get
That's
it.
so funny. That's so funny.
Get it. She looked great, but it just seems like a nightmare because it's not even like Star Trek. We're going to put on like some ears and a little bit of forehead stuff.
No.
This was a
Full
deal.
ass prosthetic. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But actually, I mean, you had the 3 alien leads. I mean, between Jakar, Londo, and Delenn,
Yeah.
you know, they weren't minor characters. They
That's
were
true.
on set all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really cool stuff. Let's talk a little bit about J. Michael Straczynski. But what a guy. I'm going to refer to him as JMS because that's easier to say.
Yep.
And I think that's how he's usually referred to in the fandom.
Pretty
is the
much,
vibe
yeah.
that I've gotten, which is nice. Thank y'all. He is extremely prolific in geek culture. Like if you might not know Babylon, you might not have ever watched Babylon 5. You've probably seen something that JMS has done. Because it's so interesting reading a lot of stuff that he's done because I'm like, oh yeah, I know what he's done. And then I read it and I'm like, oh, this is like the textbook, like jack of all trades Renaissance man.
Yeah.
He has truly touched every single art medium and genre you possibly could outside of maybe like painting and sculpture or maybe the only things he's never done. Like it's kind of, if there's a writing element to it, he has done it. It's really wild. Like, he started his career as a playwright, an entertainment reviewer on radio, a radio play writer, and a journalist for the LA Times. That was like, he did all of those things before he ever even entered entertainment. And the way that he entered entertainment was by writing and sending in a spec script for the He-Man cartoon that was accepted. And then he's like, cool, now I'm in TV and film forever.
Forever, ever.
Yep.
It is wild. I got this as well, and his He-Man script apparently was such a big deal that they like brought him on, and that like launched him into that. That led to the next thing. This was the most like weirdly perfect domino stack in the world that led to, I know we're going to get into this history, but like some really wild things that came up on his filmography.
Yeah. I mean, from He-Man, he is credited as the co-creator of She-Ra, the character, and her cartoon. Like, he is one of the co-creators of She-Ra. He was a story editor on the Real Ghostbusters cartoon. Like, that's just, and then a short list of other things he's done. In film, he wrote the story for the first Thor and World War Z. He was the screenwriter for Underworld Awakening, and this is so fucking weird.
This is the one.
The Angelina Jolie film Changeling. That was his script, his movie, his baby. Sure. Okay.
And nominated for an Oscar, or was it just Jolie? I can't remember which. But
I don't remember.
It was like there was Oscar buzz about that movie.
Yeah, it's an odd movie.
It's a
lot of people
weird
have
movie.
Things to say about it. But also very prolific in comics as well. He's a major writer, an Amazing Spider-Man from 2001, 2007. He wrote the famous issue that was in response to 9/11. He also wrote the infamous One More Day storyline, among other things. So,
And I was buying it at the time because he was writing it.
Yeah.
But on the positive side, he did bring Mary Jane back.
Yeah.
So I
think
forgive him.
I think a lot of people argue that One More Day was not really his fault and wasn't exactly what he wanted it to be. So don't put that on him, but he was writing those comics. So,
Yes.
He wrote a bunch of other comics too, like the Superman Earth 1 trilogy, Before Watchmen, a whole bunch of famous comics characters he's written for them. In television, he was a story editor on the 1980s Twilight Zone, which makes sense. He created the post-apocalyptic series Jeremiah, and I think this might surprise some people too, he co-created and wrote a bunch of Sense8 with the Wachowski sisters. He's always been a pretty big outspoken queer ally, like since the 90s, which is really fucking cool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And some of that is in Babylon 5, and we'll get to that when we talk about the cast, because I think talking about their characters is going to be where we can talk about the queerness of this series.
Yeah. His unrealized projects are also really interesting, but I just think it's really funny that he was like campaigning to be the showrunner for Doctor Who after Chris Chibnall left a few years ago. Which
he moved to the UK, and I think right at that time he moved to the UK, and that was it. He wanted to do it.
I could see it.
I could totally see it.
Yeah.
The vibes are all there.
Yeah. I mean, there's still a chance. Who knows? You never know. Babylon 5, however, I think, like, in terms of television at the very least, like, this is kind of this seems to be his big baby, and the thing that he's solo created, that he is always going to probably be most associated with, that he still works on to this day. He says that he was very inspired by sweeping epics like the Foundation series, the Lord of the Rings, Dune, stuff like that. And those books were always things that would be these really huge, large scale world building novels that like told stories that actually affected the universe, where like you were actually seeing major upheavals and changes to the universe, and on TV up to that point you really weren't seeing that to the same extent. So he was interested in introducing an actual epic scale to a television show, and also in addition to that, his experience working on TV was like, the problem is always that these shows go over budget, probably because they're flying by the seat of their pants and don't know what to plan for. If I do long-term planning and know where to allocate my budget to what the like major points in my 5-year story are going to be, then that's how it's going to work. So that's how he ends up coming up with this like really detailed series Bible, this really extensive outline and fully formed 5-year plan for a sci-fi series that becomes Babylon 5.
So cool.
Yeah. And of course, the other thing I think with him too is that he's very online, like we said, but he's also like a lot of places pretty much cite him as like the first TV producer to directly engage with fans on the internet.
Yeah.
Like in a way where like they're actually communicating and then can then influence the show, which is like a thing that I think other creators have done and maybe like became a problem for them. But he was like the one who kind of made that actually happen. And I think for Babylon 5, probably was a small enough online fandom that like it's more like a writer's workshop group than it is like what it is now, you know.
And it was a different time in the internet, and you know, it was much, you know, you didn't have the immediate response to it as well, that things were developing in a much slower pace.
Right. That's such a good point.
But also he had a 5-year plan. He knew what he was going to do and where it was all going to end up. He had escape plans for every single character.
That's right. He writes about this trap door that he had for everyone in case an actor bailed or died or whatever.
Yep.
And
he uses quite a few of them.
It's so that's such a fascinating idea, and like surprising that I feel like you don't hear more TV writers talk about that, because that seems like that feels very necessary.
That would involve, I don't know, knowing what's happening on the island.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
I don't know. Just as an example.
One of the things I did love about this small Usenet group is that it did seem like JMS just got to know some of these people, because later, if they would say something, he'd be like, well, Gary, it's good to see you again. And it was just like, it blew my mind a little bit. And then he'd be like, remember the last time you asked this question and I answered it and I told you there'd be more information, and now you have more information. So watch this episode again and tell me if you see the difference. Almost like an English teacher. I don't know a better way to say it. Like, it didn't come off condescending. It came off very much like, you can enjoy this media. You have the answers. You have the tools you need. It was just so cool and a little scary.
No, I think an English teacher is pretty much the best example of this. It was sort of, here is the text. I know what the answer is. I'm going to give you the clues, but I'm not going to tell you until I tell you.
Right.
Oh my God, I love this.
All right, Derek teased this earlier, and we did not do it when we talked our DS9 episode. Not because we knew we were doing this. I think there was just too much to talk about baseball about.
Yeah. David had to explain to listeners how baseball worked on that episode, so we had no time to talk about television production on our TV podcast.
Baseball is important.
It's not like it's hockey, is it? So,
well, listen, we do a Heated Rival episode. I'll explain how hockey works as well.
Team Kip and Scott.
So JMS claims that he attempted to sell his concept for Babylon 5 to Paramount Television as early as 1989, and they declined. But studios decline things for all sorts of reasons. I don't think there's too much to read into that, except that then Paramount announced Star Trek Deep Space Nine was in development 2 months after Warner Brothers had announced its plans for Babylon 5. And due to the intense similarities between the two shows. They're both political space drama. They're both set on a space station rather than a roving ship.
Some characters' names are literally like the same too, which kind of when I hear people in some of the episodes I was watching referring to someone as Ducat, I was like, come on now. Like
to the point that when I was writing the notes, I wrote Dominion instead of the
the Shadows.
No. Well, the Shadows is the actual corollary, but I was going to get confused with who's our guy?
Londo, the Centauri.
The Centauri. I just started writing Dominion instead of Centauri because I was like, it's an invading force. Like, I don't know what we're doing here.
Oh my God. Yeah.
So
there was a lot of speculation that it was not so much evolution so much as stolen. There's never been proof for it either way. And the shows end up so differently anyway. I don't think it really matters in the long term. And we end up with two great shows.
Right. I totally agree. I think it's probably a type of thing where like I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't put it past Paramount executives from being like stealing some of those ideas, be like, what if we did Star Trek with this thing? But then once you put those ideas in the hands of like writers, so I'm positive had no intention or idea that was in any way related to Babylon 5, like it becomes a different show. And like you were saying, Christian, it's just like you get two good shows about a space station. Like that's fine.
Exactly.
I don't think that there's a bad thing happening there.
No.
Though the fact that both shows get a starship in the third season does get a little creepy after a while.
Funny. That is very funny.
Sometimes you got to leave home. I don't know what to tell you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I also wouldn't put it past Paramount if some of the reason that we do joke about Babylon 5 as not as good as that being a little manufactured on their part as sort of corporate sabotage in the way in which they're trying to influence culture. Because there was sort of, they got to market first. They aired episodes before Babylon 5 started, which makes Babylon 5 feel like the one that's following. It's got a very Armageddon Deep Impact situation going on here.
Yeah.
And it just didn't have the Star Trek name. Let's be honest, it's
Oh,
a
for
very
sure.
hard sell, for a brand new show. I mean, realistically, there've only been a few outside of the Star Trek name, the Farscape, Babylon 5. There aren't that many, Battlestar Galactica, but, that don't have name recognition.
Don't never forget Gene Roddenberry's Andromeda, starring Kevin Sorbo. Come on.
Do you know?
How can we forget that? Can we just punt that into a jump gate and never see it again?
I kept waiting for Kevin Sorbo to show up here because I had gotten them mixed up in my mind. I was like, God, where's this? When's this motherfucker going to show up on my screen so I can write hateful things about him in the show notes? And then I was like,
I would never do that to
he's
you.
not here. Yeah. He's not here.
Yay! No, we don't get Hercules. We get motherfucking Tron, man.
Fuck, man, fuck. What's up?
Yeah. But just to close the loop on this, like, I think that is, I don't think officially there was ever any sort of lawsuit filed. Straczynski said it was like, it would just negatively affect DS9 and Babylon 5. And I'm going to try to wreck, I'm not going to wreck another sci-fi show that I also like in favor of my show, which is also going to get negatively affected by it. Patricia Tallman, who's one of the actresses on this show, said that she thought that there was one that was settled out of court, but she might've been misremembering. I'm not sure. So.
And she was also Beverly Crusher's stunt double.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Oh,
yeah. She, in Generation, she's
fascinating.
McFadden's stunt double,
oh,
and she was also in a couple of episodes of Starship Mine.
Okay,
she runs around the Enterprise when Picard has his saddle.
Considering the sort of perceived rivalry probably in geek culture circles with these shows, there's so much crossover between Babylon 5 and Star. Even every episode that I was watching, I was like, oh, that's a guest star that I've also seen on Star Trek.
You.
Okay.
Thank you. Yes.
Well, okay, Nick.
Yeah. Okay, enough of that. We need to go down a rabbit hole and annoying. If you want to talk about Babylon 5 being hyper geeky, we're about to get super geeky about television because we're about to talk about the Primetime Entertainment Network, also known as PTEN.
Go for it, because I have no clue on this one.
Oh my God. It's okay. I had no memory of this, honestly, because when I was looking up stuff about the show, I was like, yeah, this show was in syndication, right? I remembered it being in syndication, and it's like, oh yeah, it was part of the PTEN network. And I was like, excuse me, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, and I middle clicked that to open a tab, and I was like, I'll come to this later. I'll figure this out later. And by the time I got there, Derek had already found all this, and I was like, great. I'm gonna ride this wave.
Okay, it's just so interesting, and this is gonna be fun for, I feel like we probably have an older age bracket listening to us, but if you are listeners who are younger and might not know about syndication, I'm going to go into a little bit about that too. So PTEN, the Primetime Entertainment Network, was Time Warner's, aka Warner Brothers' first attempt at their own network in 1993 in reaction to the then recent Fox network, which debuted in the late 80s. So PTEN, Warner Brothers was hoping would become the next new fifth network next to ABC, CBS, NBC, and Fox.
Coming in January, a new kind of excitement.
The Primetime Entertainment Network, coming January 20th to TD38.
This also, I think, for them was a reaction to the success of syndicated TV dramas in the 80s and early 90s. Stuff like Star Trek The Next Generation, for example, right? So you'd see a lot of science fiction and dramas, airing on afternoons and weekends on local networks, but they were getting a lot of really good ratings. They were like, what if we tried to make our own network that was specifically catering to those audiences that were going to be seeking out Star Trek The Next Generation and stuff like that, right? So they were trying to do adult TV dramas and hoping that this would be something that people would be watching in prime time. If you are someone who is unaware of what first run syndication is, there's nothing like this in the UK, right? I think, yes, this is a very American thing, I think. So first run syndication is rather than like a TV network co-producing a show, right? First run syndicated shows are produced by a studio without any TV networks involvement. And then it is licensed to different local networks to air whenever they want. So that's why something like The Simpsons was a Fox-owned, Fox-produced show. If you're in America, you know, at a certain point, you are watching it on Fox on Sunday nights at the exact same time as everyone else in America is, because it is a Fox show, it is a national show. For first run syndicated shows, the channel, day, or time you watch them, that's stuff like Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, Xena, you know, like what the day, channel, or time you watch that is going to depend on where you literally physically are located in the country, because they're syndicated, they're sold to different local channels. Those channels can just show them whenever they want to fill in their time slots. This is important to know for PTEN, because while they wanted to be their own network, their own channel, what they really were was just a package of products to be sold to other networks to air whenever they chose. They were just essentially a big glorified syndication package.
Correct.
So in their case, instead of a local TV station buying the rights to one show, they buy an entire package of programming. This is in contrast to what Fox was doing. Remember, they're trying to kind of like be the next fifth network after Fox. What Fox did when they launched was that, like, if your local TV station became a Fox affiliate, you would have to air the Fox programming during the designated time slots that Fox wants you to air them. PTEN was sort of like, well, you know, we'll make this easier on you. You don't have to air these when you want. It would maybe the amount of money you're spending on an entire primetime block, it would make sense for you to air it in prime time, but we're not going to force you to.
Right.
So TV stations would pick it up. And I think their idea was sort of like, okay, they pick it up, we'd gain some steam, and then after a while, we'd gain more money and we'd gain more leverage, and then we eventually could start, you know, demanding airtime, and then become the sole partner and affiliate of a station, just like NBC, ABC, and CBS are, right? 3 issues that PTEN ran into, though. Most TV stations that would pick them up, because Fox was like sort of the new kind of scrappy network, the types of local stations that would pick up PTEN were already Fox affiliates, which means that the Primetime Entertainment Network never actually had their shows airing in prime time, because Fox shows were already airing in prime time. So stuff like Babylon 5 would end up on weekends or on like Friday night death slots, like places with terrible ratings. Also, the other problem is in 1995, Time Warner's partner in PTN, Chris Craft Industries, which is just like this big corporation. I think they were involved in like motor vehicles and shit. Like, they're just one of those corporations that are just like, we're just going to put in money wherever we want. They basically double dipped into the TV network. So they were partners with Time Warner and Warner Brothers. They also decided to strike a deal with Paramount to also create another TV network, a TV network that went on to become UPN. So also, the third problem is that also at the same time, a different entertainment division of Time Warner, so another division of Warner Brothers, was simultaneously working with a different media company to also start a TV network. And thanks to better backing and better planning, that network did succeed and became the 5th network known as the WB.
Yeah.
So PTEN did come before UPN and WB, but like they were no match for them. They didn't have the same backing that they did. So as a result, PTEN only lasted 4 years, from 1993 to 1997. Its final seasons, Babylon 5 was the thing that was keeping it alive.
Yeah.
That was the only thing people were watching in this programming block. Over the entire 4-year history of this, they produced 1 pilot movie, 1 miniseries, 1 multi-part documentary, and 4 TV shows, including Babylon 5. The others, shows I'm sure you've heard of and seen every episode of, shows that we all know called Kung Fu, The Legend Continues, Point Man, and Time Tracks.
Oh,
I looked at these. I recognized nothing. Not an actor, not a director, nothing.
I recognize Time Tracks.
Oh, I'd never heard of Time Tracks in my life. That's so funny.
Christian, what happened to you? Why did you watch this?
I don't remember watching it. I just remember it.
Okay.
So funny.
I could not tell you a bloody thing about it. I
It's
just
so
remember
funny.
the name because it had a great name.
Yeah. I know Kung Fu, like the movie, and apparently the Legend Continues has like David Carradine in it. So like, I don't know. But anyway, Babylon 5 was the only thing that like made any impact that people were actually watching. So when PTEN has to shutter because no one's watching their stuff and they're out of money, they finally shutter in 1997. Obviously, Babylon 5 is like their big production, so TNT swoops in to pick up Babylon 5.
So the final ever episode, Sleeping in Light, which is aired season 5, episode 22, was filmed during season 4. And it was the season 4. It was filmed as the season 4 finale in case they never got a 5th season because they didn't know.
Yeah.
It was then they then did get rescued.
Okay.
And they filmed the new season 4 finale as part of season 5. And everything that was supposed to happen. So I said about the telepaths.
Yeah.
So the telepaths was supposed to start in season 4 and spread much slower. But because we need and the Earth War was supposed to last much longer and go into season 5, because they didn't know they were going to get season 5, the Earth War got shunted into season 4, telepaths got shunted into season 5, and Sleeping in Light got filmed and then basically locked in a vault, so nobody had a clue what was in this thing.
Yeah. Okay.
For a year.
That clarifies it.
So there was significant cast changes between season 4 and season 5.
Yeah. Like I knew about the weird finale situation because Claudia Christian is in the finale and not in the final season.
And Tracy Scoggins isn't, and yeah.
Yeah. That clarifies that though, because I didn't realize that they sort of knew that they were getting picked up. Like the timeline of it, I was unsure of. Yeah. So that kind of makes sense.
So they filmed it it was a trapdoor. You know, he had his trapdoors for everything.
So
and his
funny.
Trapdoor, if we don't get a 5th season, you need to have the final episode because the final episode still to this day makes me cry.
Wow.
I mean, it's DS9 levels.
It's like the good version of How I Met Your Mother filming their like series finale like at the very beginning in the very first season, and saving the footage to the end.
Oh, we do not talk about that finale. That finale finished 10 minutes before its final airing out.
Yeah.
It ended on the railway station.
Yeah,
it did not go any further than that.
You're not wrong. It's delightful to see the TNT here because when I watched the pilot movie, it said that this was a TNT special presentation of the pilot movie.
Right. So
funny.
that was because they redid it between seasons 4 and seasons 5.
Yes.
Fixed there were a couple of continuity problems and some CGI problems. So they fixed those, redid it as as a TV movie along with In the Beginning, which was a Minbari War one, and sort of Cronenberg horror type Third Space. Yeah, it's quite a good one. It's a standalone one. Yeah. But yeah, so there are 2 versions of The Gathering. The awful one and the less good one.
Oh, okay. Which should I watch?
Watch the TNT version because it fixes a couple of continuity problems.
That's the one I did watch, and
that's the one that's pretty much available. I think it's one of the other the older one has kind of been memory hold a bit.
I feel bad because they sort of blew their load. They had the space station go off kilt, and that was a major emergency they had to fix. And I was like, well, now you can never use this again, and that's a pretty good emergency.
Yeah. This type of stuff though, it's why this like show has been a really, even though I've like haven't watched that much of it, it's been so fun like reading about it. There's so many weird little rabbit holes in the production of it and everything. Like, I mean, I think it's also such an interesting lesson of like the best laid plans. Like, yeah, you might have a 5-year story arc.
Do you plan for your leading actor to have such severe mental problems that you have to write him out for his own life?
It's wild shit, man. Just wild stuff with this show. So fun to read about.
Yeah. Christian, you're pitching us other good standalone episodes, but we are here to talk about one in particular. This is season 2, episode 15, and now for a word.
On the next Babylon 5. A reporter is trapped on board the station.
The sounds you hear are heavy weapons doing battle just outside Babylon 5.
Covering the front line.
We are prepared to use deadly force.
Of an escalating war.
Our ships have the right to carry any cargo they choose.
They also carry weapons of mass destruction.
On the next
Open fire.
Babylon 5.
The original air date on this one was May 3rd, 1995, and the synopsis per IMDb is the ISN arrives on Babylon 5 to film a documentary about the station, its crew, and its mission. During the filming of the documentary, Babylon 5 must deal with a skirmish between the Narn and the Centauri right on its doorstep.
Yes, this episode was written, of course, by J. Michael Straczynski. It's worth noting here, in addition to creating the show, he wrote so many actual scripts for this. He wrote 92 out of the 110 episodes, which includes all 44 episodes in season 3 and 4, which had never happened in American television up until this point.
I think this is the point where he basically takes over and writes everything.
It's wild.
Yeah.
Forevermore.
Because he's the showrunner, too. I have to just... That is natural as the creator.
Sure.
But to do all of the writing as well. And this is not like a teleplay by Aaron Sorkin. I'm going to make it all my language. This is actually written by him.
Yeah. Wild stuff.
Bonkers.
Stuff. This was directed by Mario DeLeo. He only directed 3 episodes of this show. All of them were in this season. He's primarily a cinematographer. He had actually started in the 1960s, but he's touched a bunch of iconic stuff. He worked on the original Battlestar Galactica as a camera operator. He was the director of photography on a couple episodes of Murder, She Wrote, and he was director on Alfred Hitchcock Presents, Miami Vice, Baywatch, and Xena.
Get used to some of those names because they're going to show up with this cast. All these people were on sort of the shows of the 80s. So I do want to go through some folks in the cast. I'll start with Bruce Boxleitner, who was Captain John Sheridan. His first television appearance is on The Mary Tyler Moore Show. And then he's got a variety of guest spots until he is on the main cast of the Western TV show, How the West Was Won. I watched an episode of this. It was terrible. It has not aged well.
No.
He is fine in it. It is racist. But in 1982... he's Tron in the film Tron.
Yeah, he is.
He appears there alongside Peter Jurassic. That was also a surprise. Didn't realize that. He is, of course, Tron, and then he will be Tron in everything that is to come. The sequel films, the Kingdom Hearts game. He is Tron.
Love it.
His next recurring role is as the titular secret agent Scarecrow from the series Scarecrow and Mrs. King. I watched one of these and was delighted.
Okay.
I love that show.
This was a blast, Eric. I might watch more of this to see if we can cover an episode. It was fun.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
I was surprised. And then he's on Babylon 5 and the Babylon 5 Things to Come. So he is in the animated film that just came out. He was in some of the other things that happened. The video game he lended his voice to. He has plenty of other work since then, including being the main cast of an Andy McDowell Hallmark Channel show called Cedar Cove that I had never heard of. He was on a 10-episode run on Supergirl, and he is one of the folks that Seth MacFarlane was like, if I could get them to be on my goofy Star Trek spinoff, The Orville, I will. And so he is in 3 episodes of The Orville for what I have to assure you is probably less than 90 seconds of screen time. Then we have Claudia Christian as Commander Susan Ivanova. Oh, what a dream. She's perfect.
None of her is God.
She first appears on television and on an episode of Dallas with an episode of TJ Hooker and Webster following right on its heels, Falcon Crest after that. Then she has a ton of guest appearances. Murder, She Wrote, LA Law, Matlock, Quantum Leap. Then she lands Babylon 5, which is her first recurring role. There's a little bit of controversy about her leaving alongside all of the other tomfoolery that's going on with P10 and TNT. JMS says that it was her choice to leave. She says that she just wanted a couple episodes off so that she could do film, but ultimately it didn't seem like a good parting of the ways.
There's a lot. I was reading a lot of conflicting stuff about weird miscommunications between agents and things like that. And yeah. And I think her autobiography, she talks about how she either was asked out or went on a date with JMS too that didn't really go anywhere. And there's where I think he was interested in her, but she wasn't really interested in him. And I don't think it was a Me Too situation, but it seemed like that maybe that kind of messed with their relationship a little bit too.
Yeah. Well, and when you're wondering why you got pushed out, you start looking at everything. Is this why? And it is 1995 or maybe 1997 at that point in time.
Yeah. It's
awkward. Oh look, another parallel with DS9. Your main female lead leaves the season before the show finishes.
Exactly. Oh my God. And yeah.
In not pleasant circumstances.
Not pleasant circumstances. Yeah. Oh boy. Oh my God. Justice for Terry Farrell.
It is terrifying how many parallels there are in this show.
Yeah.
Don't worry, our girl lands on her feet because one of the films that she pursued was the animated film Atlantis the Lost Empire, where she is in the role of Helga.
I wouldn't call that landing on her feet, not because that's like not good or not good role, but like that's not that movie was like did like gangbusters or anything.
That's like, true. That's true. She probably made more money from giving the voice to the follow-up video games that came from this film, like everyone else on the cast except for Michael J. Fox, because he did not voice his character. Everyone else seemed to report that the video games were much better business than the film. She kept acting, but mostly in guest roles until 2018, when she, along with, everyone else in the world, becomes one of the recurring cast on 911. She is Angela Bassett's boss.
That's so funny.
And she's in all 9 seasons.
I didn't realise this until I was watching it over my mum's at Christmas, because,
Oh, she showed up in an episode?
My mum's at a 911 age, and suddenly it's like, that's Ivanova! What's going on?
Yeah,
funny.
Yeah. She looks great in the show, I will say. Even though
I love that.
ACAB, but she looks great in a uniform.
Sure. Jerry Doyle as Michael Garibaldi. This guy is so weird to read about. Okay, I know that there's political stuff, but even before he was acting, he went to school for like aeronautics, and he was like a jet pilot, and then he was also a stockbroker, and I think he became like a self-made millionaire and just started acting because he was bored, and then just happened to just accidentally end up on this show, pretty much. It's so fucking weird.
And did you read about his role on Moonlighting? Because this is his first television appearance.
This is where he's like a fake Bruce Willis or something, right? On that,
exactly. Yeah, exactly. So his first job is we think you look like Bruce Willis. Spoiler alert, he does not look like Bruce. Oh, no.
He does.
I would sleep with Bruce Willis in a heartbeat. I would not sleep with Jerry Doyle. Sorry.
I would sleep with him before I read about his opinions on things. When I first started watching this, I was just like, okay, he can get it.
Maybe it is because I already had done the background research on the actor.
Yeah, no,
I was
I think he's an objectively attractive man who becomes less attractive the more you know about him.
Yeah. So after acting, he tries producing, fails pretty calamitously, and then finds a foothold as a conservative guest on Newsmax and Fox and Friends, eventually getting his own weekday talk show on the Talk Radio Network. In 2000, he runs for Congress and suffers a humiliating 36-point defeat against incumbent Brad Sherman, who is as boring as watching paint dry. In 2010, he releases a book called Have You Seen My Country Lately? As an attack on the Obama presidency. He dies in 2016 from complications of chronic alcohol abuse.
Yikes. Yikes.
Sorry, Jerry.
Yikes.
All right, this is where I was really excited.
Yeah. This is the cleansing of the
truly
of the Jerry Doyle stuff.
But I'll tell you, I didn't start looking up the cast until I had watched the pilot. So I'd watched the pilot, and then I dive into the cast. Mira Furlan plays Delenn. You probably know her better for her role on Lost as Rousseau.
Yes.
But I would not have known that with her makeup from the pilot. So I was gagged.
So funny.
But if you're a fan of Croatian television, you probably know her from that, because she was kind of like the Julia Roberts of Croatian TV and film.
I didn't know that. Oh, fascinating.
Yeah, she was huge.
Yeah, she got her first film on, let's see how we do with this, Horvatav Izbor, or Hovart's Choice. But she was a theater actor before that. She became wildly prolific after her appearance in this first film. She first won a supporting and then a best actress in the Croatian Pula Film Festival, which is their highest film honor. It's like Croatian Academy Awards.
Wow.
In 1991, when the Croatian War of Independence began, Furlan refused to quit acting in an already in-process production in the Belgrade Theater, and some folks in Croatia began a public smear campaign against her, including the weekly magazine Globus, featuring inserted leaflets calling attention to the terrible things that she had done through her life, many of which were manufactured.
Wow, Jesus.
She and her husband started getting death threats, so they left. They went to New York when she started working in the theater there. That got her to LA, and that's how she became Delenn as part of Babylon 5.
Wow.
During this time, she picks up some voice acting roles, including Silver Sable in Spider-Man the Animated Series, and then she falls in love with voice acting because she does a ton of it for the rest of her life.
She has a great voice. She has a great voice.
It's an amazing voice, yeah.
So it makes sense.
The voice is 90% of Delenn.
Yeah.
You know, you could get away with all of the lines she has because of the voice and the way that she just delivers them. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
In the essays that I couldn't find an autobiography of her, but she wrote a lot of essays in the end of her life. And in her essays, she talked about flying from, she wrote Los Angeles back to Croatia in between filming for Lost and filming the things that she had going on in Croatia. I am nearly certain Russo was in Hawaii. So she was probably flying from Hawaii to Croatia.
Oh my God.
Which is even worse to think about. And doing that pretty frequently. She's also going back to LA to do other video game work, voiceover work, and a couple films. She does pass away in 2021, and her death does result in public apologies from the director of the National Croatian Theater and the Globus newspaper for the smear campaign that was rallied against her.
Wow.
Better late than never, but that would have been great while she was alive, because her essays made it always seem like she never felt like she could go back to the theater in Croatia.
Yeah. Oof.
All right, our next one, we have Richard Biggs playing Dr. Stephen Franklin. This is one of the most significant jumps in cast changes from the pilot movie into the first episode of the first season. There's a bunch, but this one's the biggest one because
And Ivanova.
And Ivanova. Oh, yeah, duh. That's right.
Yeah. Because you lose, I can't remember who it was.
Yeah, I don't remember her name.
Tammin Tomita.
She was great, though. I did miss her.
Yeah.
Big reason that we replaced this character was because Johnny Secca played Dr. Benjamin Kyle in the pilot, and immediately after filming the pilot, he was like, my health is terrible, I cannot act anymore. And that was the last thing he did.
Let's talk about this show. For a show that's 30 years old, has an astonishing amount of the cast that's died.
Yes, this one...
in comparison to any other show of its time.
Well, this one's really tragic. So he didn't get started on Babylon 5. He got started on TJ Hooker. Was also on Falcon Crest and The Twilight Zone. Then he was on Days of Our Lives for a paltry 384 episodes as Marcus Hunter. And I did put this in for Derek. Pre-possession, he never got to interact with Devil Marlena. Sorry.
Wow.
But he was a plastic surgeon, which a good job on a soap opera, I think, with all the face changes.
Yeah.
Then he's on Babylon 5, and he is the only character and actor to go from Babylon 5 onto the short-lived sequel series Crusade.
Oh, interesting.
Christian, did you watch Crusade?
Yeah.
Okay. That seems to be the vibe.
TNT really fucked it over.
Yeah.
They moved episodes around. They had significant notes, costume changes in the middle of the show. It was a mess. It could have been amazing. It had a really great central idea and actually a really great cast. I mean, Daniel Day Kim was in it. You know,
yes.
It looked great in the Earth Force uniform, but yeah, they was just so fucked around that it's not even the situation where you can sort of play around with the episodes and put them back in the right order.
Right.
It just makes no narrative sense and didn't even last a full season.
Yeah, I was so bummed about this one because I looked it up and it seemed like it could have been a lot of fun. Gary Cole was the lead, Derek.
Yeah.
Just
okay.
Like
interesting.
I know for a space captain seems weird, but like
no, I can see that.
Cool.
No, I can see that. I can totally see that. Yeah.
He was tortured. It was great. Yeah.
But unfortunately, Biggs does pass away when he is only 44 years of age. Sort of a freak.
Yeah.
Cardiovascular related heart attack.
Yeah.
Wild.
Yeah.
We only have a couple more people to talk about, so I'm going to talk really briefly about Andreas Katsoulis, who plays Jakar. He's very recognizable in this role, but he's always in makeup, so people probably know him better as being the one-armed man Sykes from the Harrison Ford film The Fugitive.
No, they'll know him as Ambassador Tomalok from Star Trek The Next Generation.
You know, you say that, but I did not recognize him, and then I saw a picture and I was like,
he was a Romulan.
I do.
He was in the final ever episode, if you watch it the full version.
He didn't do a lot of other things, though. He passed away at age 59, had a good guest starring career, but otherwise not a lot there.
Again, amazing voice.
Yeah.
If prior to watching this, you had asked me, David, could you describe a character from Babylon 5? I would have described to you Londo Mollari.
Guy with the big hair.
I think is Big hair, big forehead. This is the person I know. And this is played by Peter Jurasik. His first television appearance is on the TV show Family from 1977. He is cast in Tron as Crom, one of the people that Tron has to fight in a light cycle.
Mm-hmm.
And he will also appear with his future co-star Box Leitner on Scarecrow and Mrs. King.
Okay. All right.
He's on MacGyver, Matlock, LA Law, before Babylon 5. And especially because his character design is a very memorable one, this is probably what he is most known for.
Yeah. I know him from Sliders, though, because he is the big bad of the 5th season. I think he is a great character in that. Like,
I think it's a great character.
I think they struggled to have like big bads on that show constantly for varying reasons, and they finally figured it out in the last season. I think he's a really good bad guy, and I think
they figured a lot out with that last season, but it was way too late.
They figured it out, but like right at the tail end. Yeah, but he's very good in it as Oberon Geiger.
I remember him, and he was in 3 episodes. That shocked me because I remembered him being a much more present force.
Yeah,
of
I
the
thought
whole
he was
season.
like half the season.
Like he's the reason that everything happens in that season. So
right.
Right.
Wow.
He's like his shadow is cast over the entire season.
Yeah. He's the reason that you don't see Jerry O'Connell's face anymore. So
oh God, give this man a medal. Sorry, Jerry. He's also on One Tree Hill, Dawson's Creek, NYPD Blue, and he doesn't act anymore. He teaches acting at University of North Carolina, Wilmington.
Oh wow, that's so fun.
In the theater and film program. Good for him.
Oh yeah.
Damn. There are 2 more people we do need to talk about, just because of who they are. So main cast, Stephen First.
Okay.
Who plays Ambassador Londo's attaché, Veer.
Yeah, Veer not in this episode though, Christian.
Not in this episode, but absolutely brilliant. And just need to mention that he's in the show.
He's cute.
But also, let's be honest, the sci-fi royal family, Bill Mumy is in this show as well as
Will Robinson.
as Lanier. Yeah, Danger Will Robinson.
Oh my gosh.
And he's in it. And again, issues around his character at the end, but he's it's Bill Mumy.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to be mad at me for not bringing up Andrea Thompson, who plays Talia Winters, but she's not in this episode. So
she's not in this episode. She's great.
I was like, cool.
Also very close to her final episode. She was also married to Jerry Doyle.
Weird.
Yep. Yeah. That's why she left the show, because
I do have good memories though of basically getting completely wasted in a hotel bar with the pair of them.
Wow, incredible!
Which was great fun.
Oh my god!
Well, I want to talk about Kim Zimmer as Cynthia Torkman.
She's like the star of this episode. Honestly,
she is the star of this episode, and probably well deserved. She got started on a little show we've talked about a few times here, The Doctors, for 191 episodes. Then she is cast on Guiding Light in 1983. She stays there till 1990, then returns in 95 to stay until the end of Guiding Light.
Wow.
For a total of 1,946 episodes?
Yep.
Jesus. Soap operas are crazy. I love it.
And in the 5 years she's gone, she picks up another soap opera. She's on Santa Barbara for 124 episodes. And then she has a 6-episode arc on Models Incorporated.
Yes!
Go, girl. Oh, wow.
I love...
What a star.
Models Inc. I forgot she was in that.
An older woman on Models Incorporated. Love to see it.
Fuck yeah.
For her role as Reva Sharn on Guiding Light, she earns 4 daytime Emmys. Not to diminish them, it's still an Emmy.
An Emmy's an Emmy.
Yeah.
Wildly, she is on 3 other shows, or she's 3 shows besides her regular cast that air in 1995 and 1995 alone. They are Babylon 5, an episode of Seinfeld, and an episode of University Hospital, and they are all airing this week.
That's so weird.
No.
How does that happen? She just had a week off of her soap opera. It's just all right, I'll film a bunch of shit right now.
Let's go for it.
I was shocked when I saw the dates. The Seinfeld episode is the night after this Babylon 5 episode, and the University Hospital episode was the Monday before all of that.
That's
the
so
first.
funny.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
After Guiding Light ended, she goes to the stage. She is Madame Morrible on the touring cast of Wicked, and she does some other stage stuff as well. And then she returned to acting in 2023 in an Ewan McGregor film called Bleeding Love, because her son was cast. Her son, Jake Weary. Jake's IMDb, massive. This is a family. This is a big thing.
Holy shit. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So she was a great get for this guest spot. I think she did a fantastic job.
She's so good as a she is a news reporter. Like, she's so good at
Agreed.
that role.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
The wild thing is we didn't get to talk about her, but Andrea Thompson, after leaving Babylon 5, goes to work for CNN.
Wait, really? That's so funny.
Yeah.
Oh, weird.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, speaking of the news, the gimmick of this episode, we're finally here. I know this is going to be a dense episode for a dense show. But the gimmick of this episode it's under the umbrella of a documentary episode, which is not an uncommon thing in TV, right? Where it's like an episode filmed in documentary style. But more specifically, this is a news report episode. So this one, and that's something that is less common in TV. So this episode is presented as a report, sort of pseudo TV documentary from the in-universe news organization ISN, which is an established thing in this show. This specifically is an installment of their 36 Hours program, which features special reports from a special location hosted by correspondent Cynthia Torkman, where she and her crew would spend 36 hours at a location and then learn about a brief segment of their life and then, narrate that and show that on TV on their ISN network. In this case, they are at Babylon 5. So that's what we're getting, is sort of this special news report about Babylon 5. So like I said, documentary style episodes are fairly common, but the specificity of the documentary being a news report where it's like there's a specific journalist and she's at a desk analyzing these events and giving you information and interviewing subjects on the scene, talking to the camera. And it's like meant to be produced in a rapid timeline to be aired like while events are happening. Right. And produced by News Network. That is very, very specific, way rarer on TV. I think the earliest instance that I could tell of that kind of happening in TV was actually an episode of MASH back in 1976. There's a famous episode called The Interview that's like a fully black and white episode that's basically a play on like Edward R. Murrow's war correspondent reports, which is a thing I think we should do on Gimmicks. We need to do a MASH episode on Gimmicks, period. But that's a good option, I think, for MASH.
Yeah.
Similarly, obviously, there's war stuff happening in Babylon 5. So there's a bit of like a sort of war correspondent kind of angle to it. And I think when you have a news report sort of style episode, an advantage of it is that there is so much world building you can do. It's gotta be a fucking treasure trove for hyper nerds on the internet to be getting like history explained to you, to be getting data put on screen and like lists of information and like the weight of the space station and shit. Like, I'm sure there are people watching the show creaming their pants and writing it all down to put it on the internet. Like, it's perfect for stuff like that. Just like whole info dumps in a natural way.
And I think it sets us up for success for the last 6 episodes of the season. So I think it's also doing that job of helping anybody who's maybe hasn't paid as close attention to a show with which you must pay close attention to get ready for the finale of season 2.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, so this came after a shortish hiatus. It wasn't a long one, but there was a little bit of a break between episodes for this one. So, and it was written as a way to get people up to speed without having a clip show or just, as you say, just an info dump. And I think it's quite important that it comes after the big mid-season change that suddenly we're now aware of the Shadows as the big bad, but also that the Earth president, who died in an accident at the end of season 1, potentially wasn't an accident anymore.
Right.
And that his successor may have been involved.
Oh yeah, we're doing some
really
subtle.
Yeah. This episode felt very different watching it this year than it did a few years ago.
Agreed.
Should we say?
Well, yeah, and also I think that it is really interesting, I think, for a show like this that is meant to exist in a living, thriving, big universe that is very like well thought out and dense and things like that. Like, it's really, I think, unique and interesting to be like, okay, this big important shit is happening. How is the media going to be reporting on the big shit happening? We're obviously watching, like, from an objective point of view, we're seeing things unfold, but like, people on other planets and shit, like the people on Earth at home who aren't experiencing this, how is this information being communicated to them? So it's a really cool opportunity to also commentate on like how the media works in this universe, what the general public thinks is actually happening, the ways that there's like basically propaganda being distributed, you know, like it's such
and misinformation. It's
really, really interesting. And like,
And unlike a clip show where, you know, people who've stuck with the show for 2.5, you know, season and a half at this point, who know all this,
right?
Actually, this adds to the story quite significantly because suddenly we're sort of, that's not what's happening, but this is what's being reported.
Right.
So it completely changes how we look at everything else about Earth that we know at this point as well.
Right. Yeah. There was one of the things I was reading, you know, from the Lurker's Guide that you know, archives like all of JMS's like internet comments on Usenet and stuff. But one of the things I thought was really interesting is he said like the sort of initial idea for the episode, like before I think he figured out it'll be a news report thing. The initial idea that he had was that like, he says, there's a thing you do in theater training where you're told to talk about a subject and never use the word I, but in the end wind up telling us more about you than the subject you're speaking about. So I began to wonder if I could apply this exercise in a limited way to an episode of this show. And I think that's really an interesting way to look at it, where it's like the news report aspect is sort of flips who the like subjects and objects are, right? You end up learning about what the media organization thinks about Babylon 5 by how they are reporting just by flipping the subject and object, right? I just think that's just an interesting way to look at that. And it ends up like coming out of that and sort of hearing that, it's sort of like, it actually kind of feels very obvious that like a show like this would do an episode like this, because this feels like such a necessary point of view to have, you know?
Yeah,
absolutely. And it was necessary at this point because, you know, people were coming in season 2, that they were joining it because they were starting to hear about, you know, the coming of shadows and this big myth arc that was building up, and that there'd been stuff seeded in season 1 and at the start of season 2.
Yeah.
And, you know, I was one of them. You know, I was coming in the middle of season 2. And I didn't know some of the stuff that was being told here. So it was only going back that I sort of am watching it in one go that you kind of pick all these things up. But it's a very, very clever episode. Because the entire episode is the news report. They do an episode very similar to this in season 4. And the first half of it is a standard episode. And then they flip to the news report, and it's nowhere near as good. Because you don't have that flip. You know, it's
the commitment to it here is really
exactly
impressive. I was really impressed by it, and I think JMS is saying that like he didn't think that this had ever been done in sci-fi television before. I agree with him. I don't think it had ever been done before, and he was really concerned that like Warner Brothers wouldn't approve the script because of how unusual it was. He like told them that like he wasn't going to put in for a script payment until he knew that they would accept it. And he said also like in that archive, like he was writing before the episode was filmed, but he was saying that like this is the script that got more responses from everyone on staff, including the cast and crew, than any other script written to date. Like everyone was so excited to do it and knew it would be challenging, but excited about it. I think people all knew that like this was kind of a new thing that we've never seen on TV before, which is it's just so cool. It's so cool.
Yeah, I also liked things that were done in order to like keep the news report alive, because we were in typical CG environments for the show, but then it would add this overlay of like, oh, this is where this camera is coming from. So you were just never out. You were never out in space without some sort of reason for having that
security footage, or even like having the justification that like you have seen that their cameras in the future can float around, which means that if you're ever watching sort of like, that doesn't make sense for that camera angle, it's sort of like, yeah, it does. Their cameras can just fucking fly wherever they want. Like there's
really
any camera angle makes sense.
There are a couple of shots that physically you cannot get a cameraman into, but are looking into the command deck. And so, we need those to be floating around to do that.
Very smart.
But also, I mean, it's simple things that I only really noticed when I was looking at it for this, that there's no music at all.
Yeah.
You know, throughout the entire, it is a news report. There's no underlying news audio. It is just the sounds of the station. the audience, where, you know, you've got people walking behind, and Babylon 5 was one of those shows where there were all sorts of characters just wandering around all the time, and they react to the camera in this one.
Yep.
Which normal people would do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But of course, you've never seen them do that before. It's like, oh, hold on. Yeah, that it just changes the dynamic of a scene.
Yeah.
Completely.
The attention to detail in this is so impressive. Like I really, really liked this episode. It's just because how well constructed it is.
And I mean, the fact that most of the scenes were done as single shots as well was, you know, again, you know, they were done as short couple of minute plays.
Yeah.
You know, they weren't cuts or anything. It was a single take. And if they flubbed a line, the flubs were kept in, and it just made it natural, and they kept going with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I didn't realize that the Chirons at the bottom of the screen,
Chirons, yeah.
They were using that before a lot of the news channels were using them in normal practice.
That's wild.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
To the extent that they were using them to have all that additional information and flyouts and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, because it did seem very documentary-like, and I do wonder when JMS sat down to watch Parks and Rec, was he like, "What the fuck, motherfuckers?" Because now I don't think we kind of blink when television is filmed this way, and when there are random confessionals.
Sure,
but here every confessional felt like she was asking questions, and sometimes it would show you Torkman asking questions.
Yeah.
Because she was producing these interviews.
Yeah. No, I think I do think that's what makes it feel different than like the mockumentary stuff you see now, is the presence of the reporter. And you have your like Barbara Walters type person who's like actually there asking the hard questions and then like giving you, the audience, her opinions on these things, sometimes editorializing sometimes, you know, like that feels very different. Have her presence like kind of makes this episode like feel very distinct.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. You'd never get the reaction on the Delenn scene that you do without her in the room with it.
Right.
Yeah. And just Barbara Walters, what a keen analysis there. Because I was like, who is this giving me? And it was giving me Barbara the whole time.
I mean, the Delenn scene is very much the one that sort of gives that she is like a dog with a bone at that point and going for it.
Yeah.
And to the point of destroying Delenn.
Yeah. Well,
emotionally.
Not for nothing.
And you've never seen Delenn have that kind of reaction to anything previously.
Which is very stoic.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But not for nothing, it does seem like she's interviewing aliens a little bit differently than she's interviewing humans.
I think it's important. I think this episode is a really good perspective on like what an actual human, especially in an Earth in this show that is very clearly like, Earth is just America, basically. So we literally have the president of Earth on Earth Force One, like not subtle. I do think the way that American journalism at this, especially in the 1990s, was working, I think that's very, 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 very well observed for how these reporters would be treating everyone who isn't a human.
And sets the stage very nicely for the next 2 years, where basically Earth becomes massively insular and basically just sets itself up as a state with, you know, borders and it's terrifying. Yeah. But it's interesting though that that's the amount of information that we get in this episode that we've never had previously.
Yeah.
You know, cool. the fact that, you know, we find out Kosh Naranek, this is the only time it's ever said, and it's never mentioned again, but he gets a surname. He's only ever Ambassador Kosh or Kosh beforehand. Even when he dies later on, he's just Kosh.
Yeah.
They never use the Naranek name again. And the scene with Corwin, Ivanova's...
Yeah, because he hadn't had a name up to this point.
Right?
That's such a clever way. It was such a clever way to like if you were sort of like, oh fuck, this is like a recurring character now, we've never named him. There's no like not awkward way to now name him. They figured out the not awkward way to do it. It's just there's just a Chiron that says what his name is when he's being like interviewed. It's so clever.
And he stays around to the end of the show.
That's so funny.
And he's, you know, but I just love that scene because of Ivanova just standing behind him with her arms crossed. It's like, do not fuck this up for me.
Good. Yeah.
We didn't talk about it in the cast, but Ivanova is the one who also has a same-sex relationship in the crew, and I just want to remember to give that some time. She is in a relationship that is it becomes made very apparent after Talia Winters leaves. But
yeah, it's never shown. It's intimated quite heavily in Talia's final episode. And then she does say later on, I loved Talia.
Yeah.
But it's never shown as a relationship.
Yeah, at one point in time she's like...
we all knew.
Yeah, it felt very apparent. And that, I don't know, that's cool. This is a very early form of that.
It's 93, 95, sorry. I mean, given their due, the fact that they were able to get as close as they did was...
Yeah. And another similarity to DS9, too.
Thank you.
Again, season 2. It is terrifying how many of these things happen. But yeah, I mean, the lack of Talia in this episode is the one thing, because I have a lot to say about Talia's character, and the way that she is escape hatched out is it's not just writing her out and having her fall down a turbo lift. She is written out and it progresses the story. It progresses it massively forward. For every character that's involved. But it just showed that no character was safe. We'd already lost at this point the main title lead. The commander of the ship. It's like losing Picard or Cisco. It just doesn't happen.
And yet they made it work. I really like.
They made it work.
They made it work so well. And I honestly cannot see the storyline working the way that it was originally supposed to. How many shows have to deal with that much of a cast?
Right. Yeah, it's wild.
And it seemed to be very fluid about them.
Yeah. So many rabbit holes. None of those things are part of this episode, which we need to
No, let's move on. Sorry. No, there was a little chyron there though about the odds of the station surviving its first 6 months, and I thought that's definitely a dig at the reviews that were coming in in the first year.
Oh my God.
The Babylon Project was our last best hope for peace. A self-contained world 5 miles long, located in neutral territory. A place of commerce and diplomacy for 250,000 humans and aliens. A shining beacon in space, all alone in the night. It was the dawn of the third age of mankind, the year the Great War came upon us all. This is the story of the last of the Babylon stations. The year is 2259. The name of the place is Babylon 5.
The opening to this episode, I think, is so cool because it immediately gets you right into it. I fucking love the CGI News ISN logo and all and the fact that it is what does it say, hypertext captioned instead of closed captioned. It's so funny. There's subtle humor in this that's also world building of just sort of I don't know, what would the way that we see ABC News at night, what would that just look like in the 23rd century or whenever this is. Exactly. And it's just a 1-to-1 for that, but I just love just the simplicity of it. It's just it looks like a 90s news show but in space, basically. It's so funny.
I mean, the collars, the shoulder pads.
So
fashions were fashion.
So good.
So we are introduced to this and it says we are interrupting your regular programming, and that was the only beef I had with this whole episode was you don't interrupt for a news magazine. What is going on here? This was not breaking news.
I mean,
true.
That's the only beef I have. Everything else is uphill.
I don't know if 36 hours was a regularly scheduled show so much as that every so often they would have a 36 hours report that would come up. It's still weird too, but I do think it was less this is a last minute change to the schedule, and I think it's more like the Incredible Hulk and Wonder Woman won't be shown tonight because we have a special presentation. I think that's more what it was going.
That's way better.
I think that's more what they were going.
That's way better.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and also just the fact that it is breaking our regularly scheduled program.
That's true.
Babylon 5.
Right. I did like that.
My one gripe with it, and I know they would never get away with it at that time, they possibly could now, is they had the credit sequence. I really wish they hadn't had credits.
It really breaks you out of it. Yeah, okay. I think that is my one gripe with this episode. And I'm sure it was some kind of legal thing or something like that.
Right.
But,
it
really does break you out of it because I'm so into it, and it's just like, oh, okay, well now we're getting our cheesy theme song.
And again, it might take a little while before TV is able to sort of like reconcile and get sort of the belief that you can do this. But a different title sequence would have been incredible.
And given the fact that this was the show where every season had a different credit sequence, a different orchestra, well, it was a different track and different look and feel. Yeah. Every season was completely unique to that season. And it's great. So they could have got away with it for once. I mean, Enterprise did.
Yeah.
For their Mirror Darkly episode.
Yeah. Well, we've seen it lots of times. We covered it when we talked about News Radio. They did a Titanic opening. It was incredible. We loved it.
I also like just like other little details of like that they say who their sponsors are, which I know there's a commercial later. They even say that they're like sponsored by Interplanetary Expeditions, just like old school TV would. And
so, I mean, that's the thing is that, the show is called And Now for a Word from our sponsors.
Right.
Yeah. And the two sponsors are
Evil
IPX, who basically funded the Earth travel to Zahadum and woke up the shadows, and Psycorp.
Yeah.
Psycorp. Well, we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, put a pin in that commercial because that's such or infomercial or whatever or PSA or whatever you call it. Because we'll talk. I think we have to talk.
That's
about
important. Yeah. But the fact that the two sponsors are basically evil Earth corporations is I think it's telling.
Right. I think it's interesting and very well observed. But I love like all the little details. I love the space font in all of their chyrons. I love that there's a New Vegas, which is like that. I'm like, oh, Fallout
on Mars.
But when we come back from the opening, this is where Cynthia Tokman is investigating the attack that just happened in front of Babylon 5 and interviewing Ambassadors Londo and G'Kar.
This is such a smart method to just jump right into the action too, because this news report opens in like chaos because of like this ambush that happened. Everyone's really busy, and you don't have to like have awkward exposition because you literally have the news reporters there telling you what is going on and then interviewing people what their feelings about it. Like it's like a really nice entry point into storytelling, Yeah,
none of this 24 hours earlier.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
Just jump into the battle and deal with it.
But then we get into some interviews and things like that that are really, really interesting. I really like the interview with Senator. That's not a word. That doesn't sound like a futuristic political role. Senator Quantrell, who he doesn't show up in any other episode, right? This is his only appearance. Which is sort of
I think so, yeah. Or if he does, it's very minor. But he's of the oversight committee for Babylon 5.
Seems to always be a different senator that they're calling.
Yeah.
Well, I think the key thing here is that the guy he's taken over from isn't there anymore, and the guy he's taken over from was very B5 friendly.
Yeah.
Again, so it's moving people in who are Earth first, aliens less likely. Yeah.
And just like a lot of other senators, seems completely ineffectual and just doesn't give a fuck about anything. So
we cut from some of the things he's saying to Sheridan, and Sheridan's like, wow, that sounds like Jingoistic talk. And I was like, oh shit, motherfucker, what's up?
And anybody who thinks that we could hold our own against the Minbari, the Centauri, and God forbid, the Vorlons, is just plain kidding himself.
You sound angry about it.
No, I'm not. It just sounds to me like jingoism and self-deception and armchair quarterbacking. Anytime you lose a war, you just wait a few years and you'll hear from everyone who thought that we could have won if they'd have done the fighting.
Yes.
Yeah.
That rules.
Yes, absolutely.
That rules. I love that shit. Yeah. I do also love when she's interviewing some of the other people, and she interviews like this hunky chief mechanic, and he has showed up one time on the show before. It's like, it's so great that they like got this like person who had a couple lines back.
But again, it's that whole thing of it's a world, it's a self-contained space station 5 miles long, located in neutral territory. These people aren't coming and going. Once they're there, they stay there.
Right.
So the fact that the shipping guild chief or whatever he was is there. It's like, oh, I remember him. He was there with the shipping guild.
And he just wants his
Fights
pension.
earlier.
And I love him.
Yeah.
Like,
He was great.
Get yours. But this is where they had the odds on the survival. This is when the Vegas shows up. And immediately my Tubi cut to commercial for a bookmaking app. And I was like, this is a little dystopian for me.
Yep.
I did not like that at all.
Yep.
Yeah.
That felt too real.
Yeah. Like another thing that I think is interesting about this show that's a contrast to Star Trek is that it's very much like we're not utopian whatsoever, actually.
That's exactly, yeah. Things do suck, and people actually have vices.
Yeah. And Deep Space Nine gave us what if Star Trek, but there was dirt sometimes.
Right.
But Babylon 5 is getting us like, what if not happy?
Yeah. Unfortunately, Babylon 5 is probably the more realistic take on what all of this
That's
would be
what I'm
like.
saying.
Which is a little bit upsetting.
Yeah, particularly right now. Yeah.
I also like that when she's in front of the crowd and the crowd is doing all their like on the Today Show. The Today Show that's the best way that I can describe it.
Yes. Yeah.
That's what they were doing.
That's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is.
But she's
because
like,
this, ISN is the CNN, the Al Jazeera. It's the big news network. So if you see, they know who Cynthia Talkman is.
Yeah.
Even if they're from an alien race, they'll know who this is because it's the Interstellar News Network.
Right.
Exactly.
So they react the way they would if they saw a big news reporter.
Exactly. This is where she's sort of setting up her one of her theses about this is like, oh, all these terrible things have happened on Babylon 5. And I was like, I recognize these terrible things. They're all from the pilot.
Yep. Yeah, it's interesting that they reference the pilot because they've referenced the pilot more in this episode than pretty much at any other time apart from the reintroduction of Lita Alexander.
Yeah.
So, okay, fine. We're not going to just memory hole it completely. We're just
it was fun.
not going to reference it if we can.
It was fun. But it was also like, Derek didn't need to see that. A bomb went off. Like, what do you...
Right,
like,
yeah.
What do you care?
That's
You
it.
know?
No, absolutely. Absolutely.
But also, given the fact that, the first 3 stations literally blew up within 24 hours of starting up, is, a bomb in the pilot episode is pretty much standard for a Babylon station.
Yeah. This is when she goes to interview Ivanova.
She pronounces her name differently. She has like Ivanova, right?
I know.
Ivanova.
I'm trying not to think about that so I don't fuck it up.
Oh no, I was having a hard. It's fucked me up too. But I do think I feel like it's probably intentional though, or it's just like the news reporter like doesn't actually like do her research or something, like on how to say.
And also because I'm guessing at that time probably a lot of people were also calling her Ivanova in reviews and
yeah.
And so we start to get a sense that like Turkman's not like the best person in the world.
Right.
Even though she's got some acclaim, she's not even like that good at her job, maybe from what we would expect like a good journalist to do, but maybe she's good for the state. And that's what's really important.
Right. She's good for the state. She is good at asking tough questions and being like hard, like playing hardball people, but like the motivations of playing hardball and exactly why you're being tough and what direction you're trying to steer the story into by being tough or what or clearly become more and more dubious about her. And I do think what I like about this episode is that it's all kind of subtle. There's never a point when she's like a mustache twirling evil reporter thing.
Exactly.
It's like very, it's sort of like, you just sort of like catch on to little things.
Which in the sequel in season 4, he really is. They completely manipulate stuff and move it around.
That sucks because
it's
it's
obvious.
Not...
And it's not as good.
Because it's more insidious that it's sort of like, she's a real journalist. This is true. And then it's not until you start thinking about it, it's sort of like, wait, that was kind of a fucked up thing that you said and way that you framed that. Yeah.
Completely agree. I think this is the more evil version because I was kind of waiting for her to become Snidely Whiplash. I was waiting for her to be truly evil, and that she wasn't. And then a second viewing of this, I was like, wow, this is worse.
Right. Because you almost buy what she's saying most of the time.
Yeah. And everything she's saying is legitimate, and it's real. There's no outward lie there, but it's just framed in a way that Earth first.
Yeah, Earth first.
Yeah. She's spinning it just like her name is Torkman, so she'd be good at the torque of spinning things.
Derek, that's brilliant. I didn't even pick up on that. I was just trying not to call it decork. I mispronounced this so many times when I was writing it, so I was like, David, get your life together.
Because Cynthia Torkman is an insane name for a character to have.
Fabulous name.
So
I didn't even pick up on this. This is like when we covered My So-Called Life, and the teacher was named Mrs. Lerner.
Mrs. Lerner.
So incredible.
I will never get over that. Mrs. Lerner.
So incredible. We're out of ideas. The episode needs to get filmed.
Look, it's either this or Mrs. Teacher. We're going with the less with the less obvious one.
God bless her.
Was she the one who was dressed up like George Lucas?
Oh, Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan.
Oh my God. Dressed up like George Lucas. Oh my God. I mean, you know what I meant.
Yeah, I totally know what you meant. I know what you meant. I will say that Torkman's probably her the like mask off moment for me was when she was going into the alien sector.
Yes.
So far, we've spent most of our time here talking to the humans, but aliens make up roughly 42% of Babylon 5's population. Many of them live here in the so-called alien sector, which provides alternate atmospheres for 14 different species. Ironically, the alien sector is how the aliens here refer to the human part of the station, proving once again that beauty and the beast are in the eye of the beholder.
She's describing what it is, which this is all from the pilot too. So I was like, cool, I know how atmospheres work. This is great. Mm-hmm. But she's like, it really calls into question, like, who's the beauty and who's the beast?
No, I need to read. I wrote down her exact quote because it's so wild. She says, beauty and the beast are in the eyes of the beholder, is what she says. As like one of the coolest looking aliens I've ever seen walk by. It's so fucking, and it's like so shitty because I'm just like, girl, what are you talking about? Like,
and he like looks behind his shoulder or whatever passes for a shoulder on this man.
He was offended by that. It's just sort of like, okay, ugly bitch, like whatever.
Thank you.
Yes. I love the fact that you called it shit eating because the Puckmara are carrion eaters.
Wow.
But it's little details like that again, you know, world building that we know these things about the aliens, and yeah, I mean the designs on them, they're just so good.
Oh, the design. Yeah. And we see him for like a second, but he looks so good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, like I think the one that walks by her, I don't know what the name of it is, but like it reminds you like of the Ood from Doctor Who, like a little bit.
Yeah.
And then like the way that she's like trying so desperately to get like footage of Ambassador Kosh, because it's just, I mean, like, look, he's the coolest fucking guy in the world, so I also would want to get any bit of footage I ever can. But it's just like not treating them like they're people at all. It's just like, look at this like weird creature. No one ever gets to see what they look like. It'll be a great story to be like, look at what these freaks look like, everyone, you know?
It's an ISN exclusive.
Right.
Well,
right.
we get a little mask off moment with her when she's like, oh, hurry up the camera or whatever. And this happens a second time later in the episode where she's a little less news anchor and a little bit more on air, like our on-site producer, and her affect changes a little bit. It's just a very nice character decision for Torkman.
Yeah.
And then we see Kosh.
Then we see Kosh.
Jukebox glory.
Such a fucking cool character and cool design.
And I just love the fact that his eye just closes as he nopes out of that room.
He's like, nope, I'm out.
He's out.
No photos, please.
Yeah, no, Kosh is such a great character design because
so cool.
Mystery, and you never, you know,
what's inside. We don't need to know.
Yeah, so sick.
Yeah,
we already talked about it with the scene with the Len. That's really good because it's basically like this. I mean, it's like Torkman is being shitty, obviously, but it's also interesting because I'm like, I don't disagree with what you're saying, though.
No.
According to station records, you looked quite different a year ago.
I volunteered for this change in the hope that it would lead to a better understanding between our peoples.
Over 250,000 humans were killed in the war with your people. How do you think the families of those victims will feel about your change?
I don't know. I would hope.
I think they would feel hurt. Betrayed. That by assuming a human face, you're taking a part of us you're not entitled to. What would you say to them? To all the husbands and wives and children and brothers and sisters of the people who were killed in the war with your people, and now see a Minbari with a human face.
I'm sorry. Can we stop this?
I'm an alien, but I like went in my like chrysalis where I came out looking more human like, because I feel like it's just gonna make me like show that I'm like, you know, open to humans and I just want to, you know, form our bonds together. And Torquem's sort of like, do you not think that that's gonna like kind of like she basically kind of implies that it's like kind of cultural appropriation for to be like to take on the appearance of a human just to be like, see, I'm like you, everyone. And it's like, why do you think people are gonna look at that and not be kind of weirded out by that, especially
20 years after you basically destroyed the Earth Alliance and thousands of millions of humans.
Like, that's not going to make people hate you less. Like, that's so weird. Exactly. And I'm sort of like, I don't like, she's being shitty about it. She's literally making the person she talks to cry, despite it, even though it clearly she was doing this in good faith. But I'm also like, you know, that's not a bad point. Like,
and this is why the whole episode is completely insidious.
Yeah.
Because the questions aren't wrong.
Yeah.
The questions are actually questions that would be asked.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, it's just the screw is turned a little bit more and a little bit more.
Interesting. It's so interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh, I did not like it. I mean, I like
it.
It's a great scene, but it is very uncomfortable. It's very uncomfortable because it's like so clearly like a reporter putting this person on blast, putting them in a very vulnerable moment. And specifically coming in hoping to make the person they're interviewing squirm in their seat so then they can broadcast that on like not just national television but like global interplanetary television. Like that's so mean. It's just like so mean because she knows that it's good television, you know?
Right.
Yeah. And then we get the advisory council.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the conflict has still been happening between the Centauri and the Narn. And like, this is where the council room, they're having an argument. There's Centauri vessels. Jakar believes that they have weapons of mass destruction. A little early for that to be like a cultural reference to me, but I live in the world afterwards. And so WMDs was like, I was like, wow, massive.
Yeah.
And Londo will not allow them to be searched and seized. Like, what are we going to do?
And what's really interesting at this point with all of the way that the aliens are presented is they've flipped those two characters.
Yeah.
Because she presents Londo, the more human-looking character, as stable, calm, statesman-like, has reasonable opinions, and Jakar, the more lizard alien-looking, as emotional and angry and flips it. When in real, it's the opposite.
Right, exactly. Yeah, Londo is actually the mustache twirling villain of the series.
Yes.
Or maybe hair twirling.
No, definitely mustache twirling. I mean, you know, there are, you know, certain people who watch this show where the phrase "what do you want" has very, very distinct connotations.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's I know it was again watching it again. There's they're playing with how they present these characters because they're not beholden to the season and a half of plot development we've had. This is just a 20-minute show, 40-minute show.
Exactly. So we progress that plot because Sheridan does order the Centauri vessels be brought in and scanned, and then he tells Ivanova to bring the ambassadors, and he gets a little curt, and that's when she's like, "We're on camera." And honestly, I found this charming. I loved the
Yeah. Those two as a command duo are just perfect.
Yeah.
They are exactly what you'd want.
It's good. It's very
good. Because it isn't just that they have one character trait. They are both as fiery as each other, and they balance each other out perfectly.
Right. Yeah. I do think this is one scene where like it looks a lot like just the show being filmed, like where it's a long section where it's just like, this just is what a scene on the show would look like if it was happening until the acknowledgement on camera, which, and on one hand, I do like the idea that it almost like kind of tricks you, like, oh, are they breaking format now? And just like, are just back to the show. And then it's suddenly like, wait, there's a camera over there. Like, I do think that's funny, but it also does kind of take me out of it a little bit where there's like, they have been so good about always making it so clear that there's a reporter there, or that this is in the middle of an interview or something like that, or this making the steady cam really clear and very shaky. TV. The second that it's like a little bit too much like a regular episode, I'm sort of like, wait, are we not in the news report anymore? Like, what's happening? Why are we in a regular
What's
episode?
going on?
Yeah.
But also, I mean, let's be honest, the commander of the station would be pretty aware that there's a camera on him.
Right in his face.
You know, exactly.
Yeah.
Torkman does some more interviews of G'Kar and Londo, and this is what Christian was talking about, of sort of setting them up as very different characters, but there's a lot of lore here.
Yeah,
and
particularly for G'Kar.
Particularly for G'Kar, and a lot of people who are huge fans of the series talk about this interview of G'Kar in particular and how important it was for his character development.
How did you become involved with the Resistance?
My family lived in Jakamazad, one of the larger cities on Narn. My father served in a Centauri household during the last years of the rebellion. I was barely a pouchling at the time. My mother was ill, unable to escape through the underground, so we all stayed. It was a difficult time. We were striking deep into Centauri resources. Things were tense. One day my father spilled a cup of hot jala on the mistress of the house, and she had him killed. They took him out, tied his hands together, and hung him from a jalwa tree for 3 days. I came to him the last night against my mother's orders, and he looked down at me. He said he was proud and to go and fight and be all the things he never was.
And it's interesting because, you know, over the course of season 1 and season 2, the characters have flipped from what we're seeing in 36 hours to where they are in the show. And this gave such empathy to G'Kar that we never knew anything about his family at that point.
Yeah,
So to suddenly find out not only was his father a slave, but so was he, and he was strapped up on a tree and left to die, and you know, and that's why he became a freedom fighter. It's like, okay,
makes sense.
Now this explains exactly why you're reacting the way you're reacting.
Well, and always just kind of taking you back to like the gimmick of the episode and stuff like that. It's a really smart way to give that type of exposition and character history, because like, you know, there's other ways that you can have like a tense moment where someone just goes into a monologue where they're yelling about their family history, but it's like that kind of stuff doesn't happen that much, like realistically, you know, sometimes it comes across as forced, and it doesn't come across as forced here because you're in an interview where he's trying to look sympathetic to a reporter who's trying to pull these types of emotional things out of him. It's the exact perfect time to give this lore, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, the lore dump is exactly what this episode needs.
Yeah.
Because, you know, how's she going to tell this story? Oh, it'll be a flashback or a vision or, you know, and scream another episode to a halt. This way, it's 2 minutes. Done.
Exactly.
That adds so much to his character going forward that it's forever changed.
And it's the type of thing where, like, I'm almost surprised that we don't see this type of thing on TV more often. I feel like when a documentary type episode happens, most of the time it's played for comedy or for parody. So I think seeing it played straight and the news report interview style, especially, it's like, this is a really nice way to do a lore dump without it feeling like that.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's more TV shows should try
particularly shows like this where a long arc story, you know, I was sitting there, we were talking about it earlier, and I'm thinking, I could imagine a sort of a CNN or a fake CNN episode about the crash of flight 815 in Lost.
That would have been a fun episode.
I mean, imagine how that would have been.
Would have been really interesting. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. It's a good point.
Or a CNN about Fringe Division.
Oh my God, that would that would be really cool, actually.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we're gonna get to some Fringe stuff in a second. So,
oh my God, that's so true.
we go back to the command and control center, but alarms sound as a jump point opens and a Centauri battlecruiser comes through, intending to set up a blockade, and that takes us into an in-universe commercial break.
ISN, the galaxy's most important network.
John, why aren't you outside playing with the other kids?
They hate me.
Now, John.
It's true. I'm different, Mom. I can feel what they think about me, and they know I can. I called one of them a liar because I knew he wasn't telling the truth somehow. And he just kept hitting me until I said I was the liar. I just don't know what to do anymore.
Don't worry, Johnny. We'll take care of it from here.
Mom, look, a Psychop.
That's right, Johnny. You know, there are a lot of other kids who feel just the same way you do. They're confused and afraid, but they don't have to be. The problem isn't that other kids don't like you. It's that they don't understand you. But we do. You're special. You're a latent telepath about to come into full bloom.
My Johnny, a telepath?
Probably. But to be sure, take him down to the Psy-Corps testing center first thing tomorrow.
How do I find one?
We're everywhere, for your convenience. We have offices and schools and children's hospitals. We even have mobile testing centers that travel the country. And if he qualifies, we'll give him an education, a job, a purpose. And we'll pay all his bills for life.
Oh. Oh, John, I can't believe it. You've come so far. Just look at you. We're all so proud.
And I'm proud to be part of the Psy-Corps.
So remember, if you know someone who might be a telepath, or think you might be one yourself, help them get the help they need. Call the Corps.
Call government information for more on a Psy-Corps center near you. This message has been brought to you by the Ministry for Public Information and your local Psy-Corps recruitment office.
Oh my God. I wish they did more of these. I wish they did a couple of other ones and had a little more fun with it. Like what we have here is more like a PSA. Like it's,
Right.
I think, you know, I think it's more riffing on a PSA than a true commercial, but it would have been really fun to have like just commercials for actual products or something interspersed a couple of times in this episode. Because what they do here is really, really cool.
So good. It is, but now that you've said that, it is giving Starship Troopers. Did you want to know more?
Right.
Like it is much more that vibe than Buy This Toothpaste because the acting is so over the top.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's very like you have your voiceover that's like, call government information for a Psy-Corps near you. Like it's really, really well observed and good at replicating the vibe of those sort of PSA slash sort of infomercially type commercials that you would see during this time period. But yeah, it's all for Psy-Corps. It's all about like a kid having issues and his mom's like, oh, little Timmy, I wish I could help you. And then a guy just walks through their front door. It's sort of like, let's go to Psy-Corps, but we're going to train your psychic powers. Like join the army, basically. It's literally just the Simpsons Yvonne Niage thing, essentially.
It's not so much joining the army as joining a certain youth movement.
Okay. Yeah. There you go. There
Yeah.
you go.
But you know, particularly when you look at the fact that he comes with the perfect haircut, the black suit.
Christ.
Yeah.
Well, not just
because
that.
At this point, Psy-Corps is just something's weird going on with them. We don't know quite what's going on. Walter Koenig is the main psychop that we know of.
That's so funny.
He's amazing in it.
Love that.
You know, everything about, you know, Chekhov is gone. He's Bester and he's fucking nasty.
Yeah.
But yeah, this
is
takes it
like
to a new level of there are indoctrination camps.
Yeah.
And this ties in very heavily with what happens with Talia later.
Yeah.
We go from Johnny super gay haircut into Johnny super straight haircut, and I took a queer reading of this one. This is like the destruction of queer life, and I hate that, and I now hate the Psychops because of
Correct answer.
So there's a fucking subliminal message in a very Josie and the Pussycats movie kind of way, where they are like making it so clear to you that like there is something evil going on because the Psy-Corps is literally like putting a subliminal message in their advert where briefly flashing on the screen the words "the Psy-Corps is your friend, trust the Corps," is right there on screen. What's so funny about this is that there are actual FCC regulations about subliminal messaging to prevent actual subliminal messages from being in this. So they had to like work to make sure this played like a subliminal message without actually being a real subliminal message. So JMS says that
it's one frame over what the FCC would have picked up on.
Yeah, like I think subliminal messages FCC considers to be 2 frames per second. They made it 4 frames per second in this. But French regulations are tougher. So when this was aired in France, they clipped this out completely because this was to them an actual real subliminal message.
Yeah. France doesn't fuck around with that shit, let me tell you.
It's so funny. It's funny too. I found like a Usenet post from JMS where he was like telling fans like before the episode came out, he was like hinting like, hey, for all the videotapers out here, make sure you videotape this one. There's a special little gift just for you.
Yeah.
The thing is, though, we were videotaping every episode,
of course you
and
were.
pausing along because there's stuff in the background, and it's all these little things that were happening. It's like, oh shit,
yeah, it's
and
so
then
good.
the core is your friend. Trust the core.
I feel bad. I bashed Tubi for its commercials earlier. Here I will give them praise. Let me turn playback down to 5% so I can capture this subliminal message.
Oh,
I was
so
like,
cool.
thank God, because I was trying to pause it by myself, and I was like, how did we do this on VHS tapes? Like,
carefully.
Yeah.
Very.
So I was like, God bless you, Tubi. Thank you for letting me go all the way. And why is this feature even available? Who is watching television at 5% speed? But thank you for letting me do it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's so cool. And it's just fun because I think, watching through some of the first season episodes, I never would have expected to see an episode where they do something like this, because there's something about this that's like, it's kind of meta. It's like darkly funny, but also like plays into the world they're building. Like it's just very, very cleverly done.
Yeah.
Because those people who are watching, who are following the show now know, do not trust the Psychor.
Right.
That whatever they do, the Psychor is not your friend. It completely changed the way that people were watching the show. The first thing I did at that point was go back to all of the Psychor episodes and rewatch them.
Awesome. I think my favorite moment from the whole commercial was Mom being like, where can I find a Psychor center? And the guy being like, don't worry, ma'am, we're everywhere.
Everywhere.
For your convenience. Like, I was like, damn, this is a little, my chest is getting a little tight right now. Like,
it's a little close to home. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's this whole episode does it skirts truth a little too closely.
Yeah. After the commercial, we're back with another interview with Senator Quantrell. What's neat about this is actually revealing to us that the interview with Senator Quantrell is happening after the filming on Babylon 5.
Ooh.
Because he says, I'm glad you made it out of there okay. And
I didn't even catch that.
Yeah.
That is such a good point. Because it's sort of like, oh my God, that's so funny. Yeah, because
there's a few little bits like that.
Wow.
If you catch them, they completely change the context of those interviews. I mean, there's one with Delenn, and I don't know whether it's a videoing problem or whether it's a transfer problem. But if you watch it carefully, I noticed that the color changes on her. Halfway through, and it changes 2 or 3 times, and I don't know whether it's just a bad transfer on the stream, or whether it was actually to say, oh no, these have been clipped in different ways.
I love that. I love that reading of it. Like, if that wasn't intentional, I want to pretend that was intentional, because I love that.
That's the way I'm reading it as well.
That's so cool.
Either that or my color settings on my TV are fucked.
Yeah. Oh, that's so clever. But yeah, I mean, Senator Quantrell's whole thing is that it's just like, it's not our problem, not our war. Leave us alone. Like, we're isolationists now, which again, very, very American at the time, for sure.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, basically, it's let's let these two savage races fight it out, and we'll deal with whatever's left.
Exactly. Not our problem.
How does it feel being an UK viewer and watching a show like this where they just kind of depict Earth as just being America? Is it like annoying sometimes to see that? Because I know a lot of sci-fi does that.
I don't know about annoying, but it's one of those things that you kind of just happens.
Yeah.
You just let it. You don't even think about it now. It's like, of course it's Earth Force One or whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's just it's happened. But now they say that. Yeah. Well, what are they going to do? Do our House of Parliament, which is even more.
Well, I was about to say, if it was a UK based show, it's gonna be just as bad.
That's true.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah.
Just with accents. Accents and bowler hats.
Yeah, exactly. Ooh, how keen.
That's true. That's a good point.
We get back to the conflict. This is where Sheridan sends a transport out to call the bluff of the blockade. This is where we're using some really cool POV shots. They're like, deploy drones so that we have cameras. It's just really smart. It's very, I loved it.
Spots and they use those quite a bit in various other things as well, of just, to give you a view that you wouldn't get a camera in otherwise. And just what it does is it just gives it a little bit of flavor and in-universe interest rather than it just being a camera shot.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And they look awesome. Again,
Yeah.
and I know the CGI doesn't like hold up to today, but I think it looks good.
You know, I mean,
it's good.
Yeah.
It's good. Everything seems to be going fine. But then another jump point opens, and then there's a Narn cruiser, and the Narn cruiser and the Centauri battleship do battle, and eventually the Narn cruiser explodes.
What is interesting here is it's proving without external support, the Narn and the Centauri are very evenly matched.
Right.
And the only way this war is going to end is if someone helps them.
Right. Right.
One or the other side.
Exactly.
And that's what happens.
Yeah.
You know,
That's interesting.
someone quite large gets in the way. Again, what do you want? We want to win the war.
Right.
Yeah.
We want to see the Narns destroyed.
Yeah.
Because, if you don't help us, then they will destroy us because they've done it already. They drove us off their homeworld. They can beat us.
The stakes seem incredibly high, but then you've got Torkman being like, time to wrap up my little news program.
Yes.
Because I don't care. I'm on Earth.
I'm done here.
Right. Doesn't affect me. Wasn't that an
Exactly.
interesting news story? All right, moving on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
35 hours and 45 minutes. Better get this finished now, love.
Bye.
Right. Yeah, I like how this all closes too. I mean, because she's basically interviewing everyone about whether Babylon 5 is worth it or not. And and so you get, it's actually kind of fun because you get insights from every character of why they do or don't think Babylon 5 is worth it. Basically, everyone says yes except for Jakar. But but you get some really nice little bits. I think I like Delen's monologue about how it's important that humans were the ones in charge of Babylon 5 because most alien civilizations would use it just for themselves, and humans are just known for diversity and creating community out of diverse populations. So they're going to want every alien race to be part of it.
Yeah.
I wish I could believe that was actually true.
I know.
Maybe that's the most utopian ideal coming out of this is that humans.
Well,
would
part
be
of it is,
that,
they'll build a federation.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I would like to believe it. I think it is a really nice aspirational thought about what humanity could be. Of of champions of diversity, even when it comes to the whole galaxy. I think that's I think it's a really cool, nice idea. And it's also cool, I think, coming from her as a character too.
Agreed.
Particularly given that her whole thing is the fact that her planet almost wiped us out 20 years ago.
Right.
Yeah. To find that diversity for us is important.
Yeah.
Well, what an amazing time. Anything else that we need to say about this episode of Babylon 5?
What's really interesting is it sets up so much. I mean, I was going to watch Babylon 5 again after this anyway.
Yay.
And I ended up, normally I go through the whole Shadow War and I sort of skip a lot of stuff and just watch the Shadow stuff because, big alien zappy is always fun.
Yeah.
But actually, this one, watching this with sort of the mindset that we've got now, I ended up watching all the Earth War stuff.
Ooh.
And it's really interesting how much it sets up basically the next 2.5 years of Earth First. And everything that happens leading up to basically the end of season 4 can come from this episode.
That's wild. That is really
which is insane to think about for any show that a minor, essentially filler episode before the big season finales start to kick in.
Mm-hmm. That
can lead so far.
It is fascinating, and I mean, I haven't seen anything beyond this episode, and so even knowing that this is all about setting up stuff, that didn't dampen my enjoyment not knowing what comes next.
Right.
I think that's kind of what's so smart about this episode is that it's just it's doing a lot of work to set pieces in play for the future, but it's also really, really, really entertaining and interesting to watch. Just if I was watching a really compelling, well-edited news report would be, it's just really, I was so,
it makes you want to go and find out what's happened, where have they gone now?
I was so impressed with this. I mean, all the things I heard about Babylon 5, I wasn't expecting this to be as well executed as it was.
Agreed.
And they really, really nailed it. And I'm to the point that I am surprised I don't see more TV episodes that kind of riff on this. But this one, it does the news report stuff really well. It's so fun. It has such a great commentary on the news media and how it works in like really, really subtle ways. It's so good.
Yeah. Such a great cast and show. And I can't, every time I get a chance to talk about it, it's just sort of, it reminds me why I love the show. You know, and I can talk about Star Trek and I talk about Buffy, obviously, and, you know, but, you know, Babylon 5, there's so much richness to it. Every time I look at it, there's something new or a different way of looking at it or a different point of view from it. And, you know, 30 years down the line, you know, I mean, they were talking about rebooting it. That seems to have sort of disappeared into the ether now. You know, and I don't know whether it would work trying to do something like this now.
No. It seemed like it was a moment in time.
Yeah. And too much stuff has been inspired by it and influenced by it that I think it won't feel as fresh as I think it did at the time.
Exactly. The animated movie was a great way to sort of do new things with it because it started to look at a Babylon 5 multiverse, which we've never even had before.
Oh, fun.
And that was really cool. And came out of nowhere. I mean, the fact that there was an animated movie with a lot of surviving cast still doing it, and they did use new voice for existing characters who could no longer be cast. Came out, you know, what, 2023? How did this come from? You know,
funny.
How did suddenly Babylon 5 get an animated movie?
It's so funny.
This guy's everywhere, Christian. I don't know what to tell you. He's everywhere.
He's good. It's bizarre.
Well, buddy, thanks so much for joining us. We couldn't have done this one without you.
Yes.
Would you please tell our audience where they can find more of you or anything else you're working on in the world?
You can find me on Blue Sky and Instagram, Chris E1701. I'm around for most things, Babylon 5, sci-fi, comics, and just general hot, hairy, bearded men. As well. Come find. If you are a comics fan and you are interested in Captain Britain, I am a regular cast member on the Grey Malkin Lane podcast. We do regular issue readings. We're working our way through Captain Britain at the moment. So come along to that if you're an X-Men fan. It's always a good fun.
Thanks, Christian.
Heck yeah.
Derek, what about you? Where can folks find you and the other things you do?
Yeah, you can find me most places at Derek B. Gale. My other podcasts include Wallfly Web Snappers, where we do deep dives in every Spider-Man cartoon ever made, Screonk, where we're going through Godzilla's filmography, Lee Carvalho's Potting Challenge, where we're going through the Simpsons tie-in video games, and Falling with Style, where we have gone through the Pixar filmography as well as other animated features. How about you, David?
Yeah, you can find me online almost anywhere as Dmuma. That's DMUMA. And I co-host a podcast with my friends Marilee and Tyler where we talk about horror media. And we've banished themes. So this week we're talking about Vampire Therapist, where you're a vampire, ooh, scary, and you're doing therapy, ooh, scary. And then with my buddy Hamish, I have been invited to join season 3 of Super Mario Moment. And this week we covered the adventures of Super Mario Brothers 3, which was the follow-up from the Super Show. Check that out wherever you get podcasts.
Gimmicks is a proud part of the Glitterjaw Queer Podcast Collective. If you're looking for other queer media podcasts like the ones we just mentioned, check out the full roster of Glitterjaw shows at glitterjaw.com.
And if you want to support us, you can give us a little tip by buying us a coffee at ko-fi.com/gimmickspod. You can also follow the podcast at gimmickspod on Blue Sky and Instagram, and email us your questions, feedback, and corrections to gimmickspodcast@gmail.com. Please rate, review, and subscribe on all podcast platforms. And until next time, friends, keep being weird.